if I could define awakening very simply, and that is that awakening is a process of self-knowledge. It's a process of self-knowledge. The beginning, or the way to come really into self-knowledge, is to start to know and to understand the dynamics of your entire vehicle. And that does come from a particular relative knowing. So we're talking now about the process of self-awareness. So that process of self-awareness, it does come in a level, especially initially, in a knowingness of what's going on, which is why the capacity of observation is what is to be developed. Amazingly, when the capacity of observation becomes greater, you start to intuit and understand the illuminating quality of the observer. That which is observing is an illuminating quality. And you can say that is consciousness itself. That is, you could say, pure consciousness, but it is not something that is distant or separate. It's the very cognitive presence in which the mind, in which the emotions all arise. So all of this is arising. This is all arising consciousness. All of this is an arising consciousness. The world, the thoughts, the emotions, the fields of, you can say, negativity. All of this is arising in consciousness. But the process of self-knowledge is understanding the dynamics in relationship to everything that is arising. Because the intellectual mind or the thinking mind is object-oriented. It is object-oriented. Object, body as object, everything else arising as object. So the knowingness of what is happening within oneself, within this vehicle, even on that perceptual, you can say even intellectual level, is necessary. Because then there is a knowingness of yourself in all of its aspects. The big desire, or the big gimme, or the big win sometimes, or in the idea of awakening, is that somehow, and in some cases, this is that somehow you're just going to bypass all that. It's not a bypassing. It's going through it. It's a seeing through it. And it's a penetrating of the insight. It's the penetrating of the awareness to that. And which is why they call them the emotion, the afflicted emotions, the poisons, fear, anger, hatred. When these are seen and understood as literally the aspect of the unreality of the true nature, then this presence of observation, this present observing pure consciousness, then is in the position of power. This is the power. And the only way that comes into a full discerning penetrative power is through the seeing through and not being in effect of the mental, emotional dynamics that are consumed in the orientation of all of the objects: body, mind, thought, this, that, boom, boom. So there's a transmission, and I've given, and that is free of the thoughts of the three times, free of the thoughts of past, present, and future, puts primal awareness in the seat of power to discern all unreality in its own sphere. That's coming into the power of the knowingness. Now, so knowingness and wisdom, they're very close. So when you start to see all of those dynamics of, so your experiences, the afflictive emotions, or the experiences that you've learned from, that you've gained from, oh shoot, don't want to do that again, boom, oh gosh, this was this. When you learn, when you have your past experience, if your desire is liberation or freedom, then that past experience will serve you in your present wisdom. It will serve you in present wisdom, because there is the knowing, the ascertaining of that suffering. There is the knowingness of that. And then depending on what may still be in play there, because this is why they call it samsara, this is why they call it cyclic existence, it will either go for it again and have the suffering again, or have this again with it, or there will be a thing of, there was a guy, a famous yogi, that said perfect asceticism is only having to do something once. Well, whoop, whoop, that guy, right? That's the, hey, wow, good for the guy. So when then that becomes, so the experience of this human life is what is going to give you the wisdom. Your experiences are what is going to give you the wisdom, if that's what you want. So if the desire is awakening, then your experience will give you wisdom. If your desire is consumed in, if your intention or wanting is consumed in only wanting experience, then you will be in the movement of the ordinary mind of experience. Nothing wrong with it, but it's important to understand what's what, right? It's important to understand what's what. So then each of the experience will lead to a knowing of your relative reality. And it is up to you to take those knowings and live either in going against your knowing, or living in that knowing and letting go of the afflicted dynamics that no longer serve you. And the reason I say it is important at an intellectual or on the mental level to discern and understand that is because of the self-responsibility of your own conduct. So, and I mean the conduct in relationship to, you can say, other people or the world or whatever, but also the conduct, you could even say the conductivity of the energetics of your own mind. That's where the self-responsibility comes in. So a level of personal conduct, how you conduct yourself.
Yes.
That's the level of self-responsibility. Now, that's to one's own knowing, which is why this is more of a radical, this line of teaching of this realization or recognition It's about that radical inquiry. And in my view, it's about coming into this, the knowingness of the mechanism. Now, so that wisdom, so now knowledge and wisdom on those relative levels, so that the wisdom of experience will become your present knowing or present discernment. And that's how the wisdom plays out in the, you can say daily life, or in your applicable arising reality. So the more the capacity of awareness is developed in each and every way. So there you have the observation, you have the consciousness upon something. The more that capacity of awareness has to discern, to understand everything, its capacity and the energy of awareness, which is the dynamic energy of consciousness, which is this knowingness, gets greater. And then you can start to discern even more and more. And it's not a discerning of the discounting of anything. It is the knowingness of what the nature of things are. And that is each and every one's own journey of awareness. So when resting, what they say, non-dual awareness, the wisdoms and all wisdom, true wisdom, arises out of that intuitive faculty and capacity of the heart.